Let's just get this over with.
Golden Ghost Cartel.
Cartel, my people, my babies, my dogs. What's going on, show boys, man? You already know what time it is, man. It's your boy Golden Ghost, and welcome back to the Golden Ghost Cartel. And today, I have something that I usually don't do, but something that I feel like still needs to be done just for the awareness sake of the DOA community, as I've seen quite a lot from this individual. Before we begin, however, I need to drop a few disclaimers. For starters, do not go out of your way to lambast or talk ill of this guy, especially not on my behalf. We here of the Golden Ghost Cartel are not here to harass people. What we do is rebuttal with facts, patterns, and data. And outside of that, we're just here for the vibes, man. Secondly, please watch this video until the end, because although there's a lot of stuff in here that's pretty nasty, there have been some recent developments that make me want to believe that there's a chance that we might see him on a path to the good ending of this story. I've talked over this with plenty of well-known people in the DOA community and the fighting game side, and the general consensus was saying, hey Ghost, do what you gotta do, and that's what I'm here for today. So join me as we go over the possible grift, potential grift, or maybe someone who just went about this the wrong way. Either way you look at it though, let's take a look at the curious case of Shred Gaming. Shred Gaming is a very interesting creator indeed, just from the look of his page. In his bio, man, his description talks about Street Fighter 6, Marvel Rivals, the FGC, and esports gaming, but the first videos on his channel are about 2XKO back when it was called Project L. Then things like, you know, the Game Awards, he has his own podcast, and more potently, there is an abundance of Mortal Kombat across his page, more so than Marvel Rivals, Street Fighter, Tekken, and especially his 2XKO when he started. Then after his Marvel Rivals Invisible Woman video, he made he took like a 7-month break. Then he made a Sea Viper video that was reacting to the trailer for Street Fighter. Then a few videos later, he decided to make a video about Itagaki passing away, followed up by a video that was defending Maximilian Dood when he was being lambasted by the DOA community for trying to pay respect to Itagaki, despite him, you know, despite him showing like what most would consider disrespect towards that series. Which, as I've said before, I don't agree with how extreme people went, but I definitely understand where it was coming from, because that was like over a decade of animosity all coming out at once, and started a warmonger arc for the DOA people, which it was not the best thing. It's not the best thing for us, considering how much attention we was getting. But back to this though. This video performed better than any other video he had made since his break, and ever since then he's been consistently making DOA videos, DOA discussion videos, primarily over, you know, generic topics that, you know, anybody can make, right? Why DOA needs to come back, why this DOA went wrong, where this DOA was almost perfect, why DOA 6 failed, the usual stuff, you feel me? Now, under normal circumstances, I absolutely would not care about this. I would not care about another DOA content creator and algorithm. So before someone hops in the comments, you know, trying to chop this up to, I'm just jealous that the guy gets more views than me or whatever, I cannot stress this enough. If his biggest offense was making content in the same niche as me and getting more views, I would not have looked into this as deep as I have. I would not be making this video in the first place. Shred was first introduced to me because I was in a server that I will not name, because I don't want to drag anybody else's name into this that I don't need to. If them boys want to reveal themselves, they are more than welcome to reveal themselves in the comment section. But outside of that, I'm not revealing their names myself. But I was in this voice call, and your name, Shred, was brought up in the voice call, and multiple people were like, yo, this man is just using DOA, using the way from Itagaki's passing to get views in the algorithm, making topic videos that have already been existing, and it's sickening because none of it's his own gameplay, and it's just soulless content for the sake of being soulless content, and some of the information is even correct. And then I was also seeing people comment under DOA creators' posts on Twitter, or now X, that was sharing the same sentiment about Shred, calling him a leech. That's when I started looking for myself, and I seen something that I personally had a big problem with that really made me start to look into you. Now, 1 month ago, He made a post talking about flirting with the idea of making DOA and VF merch, which is crazy. He hasn't made a single VF video to this day. If VF 6 comes out and you see him just randomly making VF content, y'all heard it here first, bro. Then proceeded to try to double down with DOA, since that was his current audience that he was in the algorithm for, and made a poll asking for 1,000 votes to see if people wanted DOA merch. Then proceeded to triple down after the poll didn't get that much traction at all, and made another poll on his Twitter, which he promoted on both his YouTube and on Hoodless Discord server. Now, I don't think I need to break down why this is such a big deal, but I'm going to break it down anyway for the ones that are probably going to try to say this ain't that deep anyway. How would you feel if you was part of a community for multiple years, doing things for this community for multiple years, and someone comes in when it's popular to be a part of the community for a short time, and after making a few videos, try to sell you a product that's of the brand that represents your entire community? That is horrid, no matter how you splice it. If you want to sell shred merch, that is 100% cool. Nobody has a problem with that. But to put it quite plainly, you haven't done nowhere near enough for the community to even consider this option. That goes beyond DOA. This is like for any game, period. Why would you try to sell merch in a place of the people who own the product? If Koei Tecmo was found that disrespectful enough, they could probably hit you with a cease and desist for all I know, bro. There's creators in this community that have been damn near the faces of the DOA content shit, that's been making videos for over 15 years, and they don't even have Dead or Alive merch. So what makes you think you're more qualified to do that than someone that's been in this game for over a decade, that hasn't even thought about, crossing that line, and you're over here trying to set up polls for it? It's for this reason that I started looking into your content like a Spy Kids operative with the zoom in enhanced eyeglasses, and I really start to notice stuff about these DOA videos, bro. And that's where I got to get into the content, bro. Let's get into it. I noticed how your B-roll is either just tournament footage or DOA trailer footage while you're speaking about it. And while that's fine in some cases, especially if you're running low on your own gameplay, but bro, for every video, for every video game, it's like, and it's crazy because at the end of your Itagaki video, where this is, where this all began, you claim that you've been playing DOA since 4 and you've been an Ayane player. So if that's the case, and you have more, if that's the case, you should have more DOA experience than I do, because I came in Dead or Alive 5 Ultimate. But so since you're a DOA 4 Ayane player, where is this Ayane gameplay at, man? If you're playing online, I'm trying to see a gamer tag. If you're playing offline, I want to see you in the arcade or something with a practice mode with a face cam, something. I want to be able to verify. I want to be, as a viewer, able to verify that the person that claims to know what they're talking about when it comes to DOA is actually playing and enjoying the game that they're talking about. I can't even chop this up to that's just the way your channel is, because you've played games on your channel before. You've played Ninja Gaiden 4. You put a whole hour's worth of gameplay on it. That's cool shit. It's your own gameplay. Cool. I know that you're playing the game. You said it's fun. I believe you because you're playing the game. After that, you proceed with another DOA video that's in podcast format, that's talking with a person who I've never heard of. Can anybody in the DOA community tell me who Temp Nethercast is, bro? I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a Mortal Kombat name. Then you have a gameplay of the Pragmata demo, and even going back to fighting games, you have gameplay content. You have gameplay short content of you playing Mortal Kombat 1. But it seems like, when it comes to DOA, in spite of that being the main reason your channel's back to being monetized, which you celebrated in your post, by the way, you haven't shown a second of your own gameplay. And it's a very strange phenomenon. These observations at face value make me believe that you're only just, an opportunist that's only here for the views. Seeing as how whenever you try something different, like that Ninja Gaiden 4 video, for example, we never seen a part 2 of that. And the only reason I can see that is the view count of them videos before and after that video came out. And now you're at a point to where you're making character bios in your shorts for DOA characters, which again, no gameplay of your own. There's also the issue of you becoming part of Hoodless Discord, and the reason why I bring this up is because he joined, said what's up, and the only time he ever attempted to engage with the community of FGC minded people that was in Hoodless Discord was when Hoodless directly tagged him to get his thoughts on something, which Shred did oblige to give his thoughts. But after that one interaction, he never made another attempt to interact with anyone. Mind you, like I said, this Discord is very active within a lot of the competitive minded players, and that detail will be very important for later, considering how he frames his content now. But the only thing he did in this server truly was link his DOA content, which is fine. But if you want to be in tune with this community, it will help if you talk to these people and interact with them. It'll only help you build relationships with these people and give you more insight on your content and improve your content, right? So there's also that. But among all this, there was one other thing that I noticed that I just had to talk about, which is just another massive reason why this video exists, man. Enter Kim Sama videos. Now this comment is from the video Updates Dead or Alive 5 Needs, which I'm not gonna lie, it's a very odd video to make considering that you incited that DOA 5 was damn near a perfect game not even 2 videos prior. But in this video, Kim Sama videos basically accuse Shred Gaming of being a grifter. Straight up accusation. Someone who I was in the voice call with the few weeks prior, who first put me on, DM'd me. He DM'd me this screenshot, and I told him I would keep an eye on it, and if it suddenly vanished, then I already knew what it was. You can probably imagine what happens next, right? This also isn't something I'm fabricating either. Just cross-reference this screenshot with the B-roll of the comment section, and you'll find comments that directly match. But Kim's comment, nowhere to be found. Now, this doesn't exactly prove that the comment was deleted, of course. So I took it a step further, and I went to Kim's channel on my old account, and I messaged him directly through there. That's when he told me that when he was on his own account, he could see his comment just fine, but when he's logged out, he cannot see the comment. That tells me that either YouTube or by Shred's own volition, that comment is muted, so nobody else can see it besides the commenter himself. Now at first, I wanted to give Shred the benefit of the doubt and say that it was just YouTube that was responsible for this, because in my head, why would you mute a comment when you could just delete it entirely, you know? However, as you will see later on, my opinion has changed on that, and you're gonna see why in just a moment. Because at this point, I'm not gonna lie, I was already prepared to drop a video on this dude, and in those previous recordings, because I recorded this a couple times, I crashed out a few times because this, combined with the trying to sell merch for the community that you didn't even rep until 3 months ago, that was sending me. I sent his content over to veterans, and they were telling me that a few of the videos were loaded with misinformation, and he wished they reached out to, you know, them or other creators or other people who have been in this scene, you know, to verify the info with them. And even more so recently, he's speaking about how DOA needs to focus on mechanics and gameplay while keeping the fan service second.
Looking forward, Dead or Alive really needs to focus its attention more on the game and character mechanics, while its sex appeal needs to be a secondary focus.
Which also isn't the best take, considering Zachary had the exact same take on Twitter and got clapped so hard for it they need to go on an Emery Rain stream to plead his case. To the more serious stuff like the muting comments accusing you of grifting and trying to sell us a product, bro, like I already said that earlier, but I can't stress enough, bro. Trying to sell us a product that wasn't even your own brand as merch. I was ready to roast you for 40 minutes, but after speaking with Hoodless and DMs, I thought about it, calmed down, and proceeded to hear out his suggestion, because he suggested this to me to try and reach out to you directly first before I went ahead and just made a video. So that's what I did. Now this is the part where things get messy. I DM Shred on Discord directly, laying out most of the criticisms I had with his content. However, I left out a few things like the deleted comment stuff because I didn't want to reveal my whole hand to him yet, in case he wanted to say something in an attempt to weasel his way out or something like that. Since I don't know this guy at all, I don't know what he's going to do with someone confronting him like this. I want you to pay attention to a couple things in his DMs though. I stated multiple times that I am not trying to make it seem like I just want him to stop making DOA content or trying to gatekeep him out of the community. And I even gave him solutions for the content that would solve his lack of gameplay problem, because eventually you're gonna have to put your gameplay behind these videos at some point. It's only a matter of time. The trailers and the tournament B-rolls, you can only do so much for that before people start asking questions. All this to say, yes, I criticize him, but it wasn't out of a place of malice. I didn't just shit on the guy to shit on the guy. I just want him to go about this in a more passionate way for his content. Not to make a comparison for the sake of it, but literally, like, look at the bulk of DOA videos he's made, and then look at Dead or Alive Primetime, which is a series I made. Not even 4 or 5 episodes of that. And you'll see a complete difference in the effort, despite none of my gameplay being in the video. I don't have none of my gameplay in the DOA Primetime, and he don't have none of his gameplay in his videos, but you'll see that difference in passion in the content. I built relationships with this community, and a good chunk of the bigger DOA people know who I am, and I received that blessing from the same people because I'm a passionate creator, and even with less views, less subs, I put my heart and my soul into the projects that I care about during the times when nobody else did. You can be in the algorithm all you like, but you still got to put in the work to get that respect from these people. And I was hoping I could communicate this to him through the DMs, and I could begin this conversation and get this change in his content and his growth, which I could relay that information to the same parties that brought this to me in the first place, and perhaps his words would even move me enough to not proceed this video no further. You know, since this was, at this point, this was holding up my content loop. I have a whole bunch of videos that I need to get off my chest, but I found it so important that this needed to be done first. And so that's what I've been doing this whole time. I've just been gathering more information as time went on. But instead of getting a response to this DM, something happened that blew all my expectations. So I'm gonna leave this to y'all. What do y'all think he did? And before you say he blocked me, no, that's not what he did. He didn't block me. I'll wait. Now, if your answer was he left the entire Hoodless server without even responding to my DM, you would have only been half right. Because not only did he leave Hoodless server, but then at 4 in the morning joined Destruction Bomb server the next day. And I only noticed this because one day my mutual servers with him, because he's in the VF server and Hoodless server, my mutual servers went from 2 to 1 one day, and then the next day when I'm doing my morning routine, I just so happen to check again, and then it goes back up to 2. I check to see what the 2 is, and it's Destruction Bomb server. Now, mind you, Shred, I don't know what the purpose of this was, because if you were trying to avoid me, you're going to have a really hard time doing so, because if there's a DOA server in Discord, at this point, I'm probably in it. I don't know what DOA server I couldn't be in at this point. I'm pretty sure I'm in a vast majority of them. If you were under the impression that the first people who told me about you were in the Hoodless server, then you're mistaken. Because the people who brought you to my attention, while I'm not going to say what server they was in, I can for a fact tell you that they were not in the Hoodless server. I did, however, let Hoodless know what was going on the moment that you did join this server though. And now, since you joined Destruction Bomb server, now I had the unfortunate duty of putting all this stuff on his desk as well. And after speaking with him, a day went by and he spoke to a couple other prolific figures in the scene who, once again, I'm not going to name because I don't want to bring nobody else's name into this. He told me there's not really much that I can do because, you know, if you don't want to respond to my DM, then there's not really much that myself can do, you know. And that's when DB himself decided to DM you. And when he approached you, you chose not to respond to that DM neither. So let me get this straight. There's a high likelihood that you muted a comment that accused you of grifting. I tried to approach you criticizing your content, but even though I provided solutions, you left the whole server. Then Destruction Bomb himself chooses to DM you. I don't know exactly what he said, but it had to be somewhere along the same vein considering I brought this to his table. And you ignored him as well for 48 hours. And even to this day, I think this is days later at this point, despite you communicating, you're making good changes. You're making good changes. I will give you that, but we're gonna get into that in the aftermath. Considering that you're still in the server and you're speaking with people, and you still haven't responded to the DM, it's kind of crazy to me, man. It's kind of crazy, and it has to be somewhere in a similar vein because, like I said, I brought this to Destruction Bomb's desk, and he's the one that told me he was going to DM you about it. 1 time's an accident, 2 times a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern, my boy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of nasty. This is why I believe that it is extreme likelihood that he did mute that comment himself. And this was the final nail that made me hit record on my OBS and to sit here before you all with all this behind the scenes shit that's been going on. But what happens now? Because he's still in that DB server. And I've always been a believer in it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And if he's going to be here in this community, then I want to see a change for the better in his content. And if he will do that, it's a mystery. But, you know, if he won't just go to another game, you know, it's a mystery. You know, if he won't just go to whatever getting them the views, it's a mystery. Like I said in his DMs, all I can go off of is what I see. And this is what I've seen over the last couple days. It's made me believe that there might be some light at the end of this tunnel. So, as of today, January 12th, 2026, now he is a part of Destruction Bomb server, and he's been more active on there than he's ever been on Hoodless server. And the only reason I can assume is that either A, he's heeding the information that I sent him without responding to me or Destruction Bomb's DMs, or it just took people to recognize him and say that they like his content for him to be responsive. Which personally, as a creator, I don't like, because if you can't take critiques, well, you'll never improve. But that's more of a life lesson than anything else. He's also had pretty horrendous takes about core DOA mechanics, in my opinion. But hey, you gotta give him credit where it's due. At least he's engaging with this server and this community, and that's more than he's done before. And he's even talking about getting a bunch of Tekken players that are in his local scene to try DOA and ask Destruction Bomb about it. Like, you know, you just gotta clap it up. At least, at the very least, it's progress. It's steps in the right direction. You know, I just wish that you could have done this sooner, because you could have been in multiple courts doing this. You could have spoke with me. You could have spoke with other people that could have connected you with these guys, man. But now, as of now, you know, it's not really in my hands no more, because I've seen way too many things I didn't like, and it just wouldn't, like, I just couldn't let this just sit without bringing some type of awareness to it, which is why I'm here today. It's not in my hands no more. It's in the DOA community's hands, and they will be the ones that decide what happens with you, you know. So with all that being said, you know, what do you think about this creator given all this? You know, do you think he truly cares about this series, or you think he's just here to profit off us? You know, do you think he's just here because of the ad revenue? You know, let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed this and want to see more type of content similar in this vein, don't forget to leave a like, comment, share with your friends, all that good stuff. Don't forget to leave a hype on the video, and as always, subscribe for some more from the Golden Ghost Cartel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.